time all in nature where you guys were very nomadic. This is your family is very, very nomadic, all in nature quite a lot. And then the seasons changed. Some kind of major seasonal change affected the land, having to go to do something different. Your parents went to seek out some wisdom, seek out something for their future. Now what happened next? There was a prophecy or an instruction given from this one. I think it's more instructive. And this is about the water baby or the baby by the well. This is very interesting. This is your parents. This is where they go. They go to this place that has, I'm getting like a spring water type of thing. Not like spring the season, but like a natural spring warm water type of thing. This is where they went towards. This was better for them. It was happier time. What they needed to do, what they needed to have come in congruency did. The weather was more conducive for them. And this is when you hit the scene. Clear as day. Can you show them that? That's when you hit the scene, like boom, baby on the way. Now what's going on? Once you arrive, what's up? This is kind of, it's a place that has spring water, but it's not too far from the coast. It would be inland by probably 50 miles. I don't know what that's about. I'm getting shades of what might feel, to me, I can see it in my head, kind of like the Pacific Northwest. It may not have been there, but think about how green that is and what that's like. That's what I'm getting. And your parents knew how to work and do things quite a lot, and you learned the skill. You learned the craft. You were a girl in this lifetime, but you learned your father's craft. Show her this. Now this man came through town again. This is the guy that came through town again. This one is known to him. He comes through town again many years later. It's about 12 years later. You're all excited, really ready to go, very, very curious, ready to go, ready to go. You want to go on an adventure with this person. I think this person isn't just the village fortune teller person. I think this one is actually related. I think he's an uncle of a sort, not a direct line uncle, but an uncle of a sort. Somehow a little bit more in the extended family, this person. He comes through town. He wants to go. You want to go too, but your father is teaching you the craft. Do you go? It's almost like you want to go on the road and do performing or something. I'm getting shades of vaudeville. Your dad says no. He wants you to stay here. You feel like he's an ogre. You want to go forward. He doesn't want you to. He says 4 years. 4 years. Now this is the 5 of water, but I'm getting 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. Something about ivy, 4 years. And look at that a little bit more. I think he wanted you to know a little bit more and not be disrupted or interfered with as a young person. I think he wanted you to have time to grow. I think he also wanted somebody to be a guardian over you that wasn't quite as a guardian yet. And by that I mean somebody that's in the family line that's a little bit further advanced in age, had not passed over. I think your father had the intuition that when that person crossed over, they would guard you and then you could go. They would look out for you a little bit more. This is like a grandma bird. I don't know what that's about, but it's a grandma bird. She knows about farming. She knows about seed stuff. She knows. These two communities were not that very far away. The grandma bird needed to watch over you. I don't know what that's about. You'd be traveling in a space that was more hot. The climate would be a little bit different to you. If you were to go traveling with the uncle to go performing and do things, it would be, you would go to a place that had much more sun, less of the rain, less of the coastal feel, but more heat of like the desert or dry air. You could go, you could do it for a while. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It would change your fate quite a bit if you fell in love with that. And I think your dad didn't want to risk losing you to that particular thing. It'd be like somebody wanting their kid to go out to Hollywood. The kid wants to go to Hollywood and the parents are like, hey, yeah, you're not ready for that. That kind of thing.
She said my spirit animal is an owl.
Yeah. That could be more related than you think. The grandma bird is always going to be looking over. The grandma bird would be the wise bird, like the owl, but literally have connections. The traveler. You want to go, you want to see, you want to explore. Of course you do. And the dad is saying, I'll hold space, I'll stay here, we'll be here, we're not going anywhere, we're going to be here when you're ready to come back. Go have your adventure. Crossing the mountains, going through the deserts. It's like you were stubbornly dug in with this plan to go travel, to see the world. You felt like the world was too small. So, anything else? What was calling you? This is felt like you had something calling towards you that you had to go see. It's like something that was beyond yourself, calling you forward. I don't think it was actually about the career or the performing as much. I don't think you knew that. You just felt like, here's the call, so then you went. What was that about?
She lives in the Pacific Northwest.
The Mirror Guardian. This is somebody that you're going to see. This is also somebody that's like in the divine realms. What's going on here? There's some sort of genius that you have in the way that you plant things, and some sort of genius you see in the stones, but I'm not sure why. What's up with this? I'm getting something about in the stones, and almost like you could craft glass. It's very odd. You could get in this industry where you would craft glass. You could do copies and forgeries in stone of certain things that were made. I don't know what that's about. You could do things that would make lead crystal look like lead crystal when it wasn't. It's almost like you could be a jeweler and copy a diamond in a time when people didn't know how to do that. You'd know how to cut glass differently. You'd know how to cut stone. You'd know how to work with stones. You'd know even where to find them. This knowledge of gems, for some reason, was important. You were a little bit diabolical in how you could use this if you wanted to. You didn't want to do this forever.
She put a craft a lot.
It's like something to do with crystals and stone and making them really, really quite beautiful. And there's something that's celebrated. You learned your skill, you learned your trade, you paid attention to something about the way the land went together and the way that things would be glazed on the outside of stones also. Then you balance things a little bit differently. Then you return home. I don't know why you return home, but you do return home. I think you had to see how the different elements and minerals would combine when you created stone. It wasn't just like the pottery type of stone or just glass. It literally was ornate. It was ornate, and it could be used and sold, and it would be something that might be collected in certain things. Periods of time, different periods of time, you would go to this skill and use this skill. This wasn't all you did, but during different periods of time you did. And look at this encrusted goblet here, my goodness. I think you knew how to make the wealthy feel wealthier and fancier. Like, I'm getting Swarovski crystals and Fabergé eggs. I don't think you constructed either of those, but you certainly would know your way around them. You certainly would know how to make something look really, really great. There were certain formulas that were passed to you, and I'm not sure why, but they were formulas that became a burden for you to carry. You didn't want to do this forever. You felt like your skill had kind of locked you into a life that wasn't necessarily what you wanted. All the parties, all the dancing, all the fancy fakeries of fake necklaces and collars and prettiness, all the pretty frou-frou. It got you locked in there somehow, and you wanted out of that. But your skills were really good. You went away, you feigned blindness, and you worked on consignment. Only. You went away and you feigned blindness. You feigned blindness. That is a really weird thing. And you worked on consignment. What a bizarro. It was like the only way that the people would think that you couldn't do your job. It's nutty as fuck. I don't know why you would do that, but it is. It's what needed to be done in order to get your freedom back. Otherwise, they would have owned you.
She put, I'm lost too, LOL.
I think you were like, in some regards, kind of the golden goose for people. They wanted to own you, possess you, and possess your skills because you could fake all of their fancy pants stuff. It's like if the royals or the nobles would have jewelry, you could fake the jewelry, make a copy, make a master copy, those kinds of things. You could make everything look fancier for weddings. Your work was sought out and sought after. And you did it a few different times. And so when you did it, the word got out. But it's not something you loved to do because you didn't like the social circles that you were in. Like, I think a lot of people would like those social circles, but you didn't. You didn't like them. And you were like, enough is enough is enough, so you feigned you were going blind. This would have been as you gotten a little bit older. Did you return to your folks, to your family? No, but you did send for some. You didn't return to them. You stayed stalwart where you were at when you took your leave of absence from this work. But you sent for them to come to you. Yeah. You were definitely the golden goose, and you didn't want to be the golden goose owned by anyone. I mean, look at these cards. You didn't want to be that, so you sent for family to come. Anything else? Feels like you eventually were able to leave completely from there, but it took some time. It's like you had risen very high in where the society would be and what they would see and how they would see things made and really, really made well. But you didn't want this for yourself, so to separate yourself again, to go back to where you were just like one of the regular Joes, was tricky. Here you are in your old age. This is much older years, much, much older years. Doing ornate work again, once again. Look at this. The tree full of cups and the stories of the people that you would do things for. You had access to people that had power. You had stories to tell of what you made for different ones, what you crafted for different ones. But you put that craft aside because you did not like the circles. You knew it would not give you what you wanted. I think you wanted family. This is just the telling of the story of you making that choice. It was a difficult choice for you because you thought you wanted, like, to perform. You thought you wanted to see the world. You thought you wanted all this bigness. But when you got this bigness, it exploded. It'd be like somebody that thinks they want to be famous and then they get famous and they don't know what to do. Except for yours came in skill. You were known. There was notoriety about your skill. You wouldn't be the one wearing this. You would be the one creating this. And you would rather be simple. That's what it was about. That's what it was like. This is like the final page, the last page. This is how your life ended, more in shades like this, with the stories in the tree and the family line of how you did what you did, how you knew different formulations, how you knew what you would do. It's almost like because of the springs and the water that you were born near, there was something that transferred inherently with the knowledge of how you would do this. That's what I've got. That's wild.
She said, I don't care for bougie things.
Yeah. You knew how to make bougie things. You knew how to be very bougie. Bougie, haughty, nose in the air, bougie. You totally knew how to do that. You have a good eye still, and you will still have the eye, like the jeweler's eye is your gift. You'll have the creative eye, the artist's eye. You'll be able to see the value in things, see the pretty and the beautiful in things. But you like it more in the plain and simple things for self. You don't like the ornate, putting on the dog kind of bullshittery. You don't like people that are that way either. And you still won't. That's what I got. But in this life, you knew how to craft the bougie. Wow.
All right, she said, right, and I don't care for those type of people as well.
Yeah. No surprise. No surprise, but that's where you went. And this is a beautiful ending. This is the beautiful how it went. It shows and it indicates that yes, you did have a family of your own after this period of time. It was like out of sequence for you.
She said, plain and simple is totally me.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Wow. That's complete. Holy smokes. That was amazing.